now with us from Washington, our CBS News senior political editor, Steve Chaggaris, and roll call columnist, Jon Allen. Thanks for being with us, guys. Steve, let me get straight to you. Hillary Clinton has won 2 out of the first 3 contests, and she has a huge lead in South Carolina. What's at stake for Bernie Sanders right now?
Well, he's got to win. I mean, losing Nevada, I think, was a big blow to him. Coming out of New Hampshire, he would have had momentum after winning New Hampshire, winning in Nevada. But now he's going into a slew of states, South Carolina, a bunch of southern states on Super Tuesday next week, where it just looks really, really difficult for his chances in any of those places. A lot of large states, a lot of delegates at stake. You look specifically at South Carolina, the biggest voting blocks there are African Americans, 55% turned out in 2008. Older voters, 60% of the turnout in 2008 were over the age of 45. These are things that are very favorable to Hillary Clinton. She won by 54 points among African Americans in Nevada. So he's got an uphill climb in South Carolina and some of these states, and so he's got to really somehow close that gap.
Steve, let's talk about the delegates. Hillary Clinton certainly has way more delegates than Bernie Sanders. She's at, I think, 501. Sanders is at 70. So at this point, do you think he's way behind the 8 ball to recover? And for her, how significant is this, having that many delegates this early on in the game?
Well, I mean, let's look specifically at her delegates. A lot of them are super delegates, and a lot of those aren't bound and could change if he all of a sudden got some huge momentum going forward. But right now, they're sort of locked to her, and so yes, she's way ahead. She needs to get to about 2,300 delegates in order to secure the nomination. The way the calendar looks, it's just, as long as she keeps winning, although these states give out their delegates proportionally, she has an advantage, mainly because A, she's ahead, and she's gotten herself to a point where as long as she continues winning, even by small margins, she'll still get more than he does, and it's just going to be it's going to be too difficult really for him to catch up to her at this point. He's got to start winning a lot of these races, and he's got to start really winning big in order to close the gap. And we, looking at the map, I just don't see where Bernie Sanders wins consistently big in order to close that delegate gap.
So, John, new numbers show that Bernie Sanders has outraised Hillary Clinton in January, but he also spent a whole lot more cash. So what does it say about his campaign?
It means the burn rate's pretty big for the burn. I think what happened is they're scaling up as fast as possible. He's bringing in tons of money. There was huge excitement out of Iowa, where Clinton won very narrowly, but his team felt there was momentum there. Huge out of New Hampshire. They're raising tons of money from small donors. Those are donors that you can go back and tap again and again and again because they haven't hit their limit. And as a result, he's being able to scale up his operation in a variety of states where he didn't really have one before. Of course, that costs a lot of money, so we're seeing that spend rate go up pretty fast.
John, let's talk a little bit about the Republican side now. Trump, things are looking good for him in Nevada. He's got the momentum right now. Do you think there's anything that can actually slow him down? Will there be any surprises in Nevada?
Well, if there was a surprise, it would be a surprise. But but Donald Trump, look, you couldn't think of a state that screams Donald Trump outside of New York more than Nevada. Look at the Vegas Strip. Look at Donald Trump's entertainer status, his billionaire status, his casino magnate status. This is a state that is tailor-made for Donald Trump. I think the polling that we've seen so far, and polling is difficult in caucuses and in the Nevada caucuses in particular. But what we've seen so far, he's up huge, as he would say, and there's no reason to think that that's going to stop.
Steve, Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz remain optimistic about their campaign despite Saturday's results. I saw Senator Cruz on some of the Sunday talk shows almost painting that primary as him coming in second place. They may have been pre-tapes, but very, very optimistic. Here's the thing. They haven't won yet, except for Cruz's win in Iowa. So do they actually need to start winning?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, winning is going to change a lot of minds. It'll change the momentum. The problem here is you really have Cruz and Rubio going after each other, and they're not really going after Trump, which is an interesting strategy moving forward. You'd think they would go after the front runner, but Cruz and Rubio, the mindset is one of them could be the alternative to Trump. and so they're trying to take each other out. I just wonder if this strategy is going to take a little too long for it to actually work. I mean, Trump can continue to just roll, and granted, we're talking delegates and all that kind of thing, and they're proportionally allocated, and as long as they keep getting over 15-20% in certain states, they'll get delegates. But at the same time, you do have to win states, or else you're going to be talked about as the also ran. And so as long as Donald Trump continues winning, and in states, mind you, where he's winning big, I mean, he won big in New Hampshire and won big in South Carolina. These aren't two states that are at all alike. And so he's making an argument that he can not only win big, but he can win big in very sort of diverse Republican electorates.
Okay, so John, before we let you go, we want to talk about Jeb Bush. He dropped out over the weekend, and yeah, he didn't have a lot of voter support, but he certainly has a lot of heavyweight donors backing up his campaign, or he did. So where's all that money going to go? What's your guess?
Well, I think, right now you've got a big set of Jeb Bush primaries. One is for his donors, one is for his voters, one is for his staff. The thing that people are going to pay the most attention to right now, I think, is the donors. The expectation is that a lot of them will go to Marco Rubio. Many of his big donors are from the state of Florida and had been supportive of Marco Rubio in the past. So I think a lot of those donors, you'll see them start to give to Rubio. I think there's going to be an opportunity for some of the other candidates to make their case as well. Certainly some of the Bush donors in Texas may want to think about Ted Cruz, who's likely to be, if he doesn't win the presidency, likely to be a senator from Texas, at least for the next couple of years, and maybe beyond that.
Steve Chaggaris and Jon Allen, thanks a lot, guys.
Take care.